So again, I want to make this video just to go over the homework, all right, from yesterday and today's. So number 17 was actually explained on a video that I made yesterday. Let's go over a couple more of these, like number 20. So what do we really have? We have -7 times t equals 49, okay? T is clearly on the left side of the equal sign. I want to get rid of this -7, but it's not really subtracting 7, it's -7 times t. So how do I get rid of that -7? Divide by -7, right? And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other to maintain the balance. So you're going to divide by -7 over here. So these guys obviously cancel out. That t comes down. The equal sign also comes down. And 49 divided by 7 is 7. But when we think a positive divided by a negative, that's negative. So t equals -7 is the correct answer right there. And once again, you could always double check your answer. If t equals -7, if you were to take that and plug it back in right here, that would say -7 times -7. That does give you a positive 49. Let me actually show that. So that -7 that I got as an answer, I'm going to plug it back in with parentheses in there. And then, yeah, when you think about -7 times -7, that does equal positive 49. Number 22, where's the V at? Is the V on the left side of the equal sign or the right side of the equal sign? On the right. Is it by itself on the right? No, there's this 11 right there in front of it. I need to get rid of that 11. How do I get rid of the 11? Dividing by 11, that's right. So I'm going to divide by 11, because right there you're really multiplying, so the way to get rid of it would be to do the opposite, dividing, and I use a fraction bar for division. So I divide by 11 there, I divide by 11 over here. The 11 cancels out with the 11, and the V is what's left over, so the V comes down. The equal sign also comes straight down, and -22 divided by a positive 11, that's -2 as your final answer. So you could leave it like that, but of course it looks better when V's on the left side and your answer's on the right. So either one of those is acceptable for Friday's quiz. Let's move on to the next one. Let's jump to number 30. So where's the n at? The left side of the equal sign or the right side?
Right.
It's on the right. Is it by itself?
No.
No, there's a fraction right there, right? So we could get rid of that fraction by multiplying everything by what?
6.
By the denominator 6. So I'm going to put a times 6, or I could also do times a -6. Let me just go with times 6 for now. So I'm just going to multiply by 6. And of course, what I do to one side, I do to the other. I'm going to multiply the 31 also by 6. So the 6 cancels with the 6. And what would be left over? You have a negative sign, a 1, and an n. So you could say -1n. Actually, let me do this black. Equals -1n. And over here, the 31 times 6. 6 times 30 is 180. 1 times 6 is 6, so 186. I did distributive property in my head right there. Anyway, we still have the -1 right in front of there. So how do I get rid of that -1? Divide by -1. That'll cancel it out. Divide by -1. All it does is change the sign. So my final answer is n equals -186. Or of course you could write it with the n on the left side. That's even better. Number 32. I want to explain number 32 two different ways. The first way is getting rid of the fraction by multiplying everything by what?
7.
By 7. So I'm going to multiply the 2/7 times 7. Again, notice that I wrote the 7 up here because 7 over 7 really does cancel out. Okay? And what I do to one side, I need to do to the other side to maintain the balance. So yeah, 7 over 7 cancels out. On the right side, you end up with -28. And let me bring down what's left over. What's left over on the left side? Jonathan, what do you think? What's left over on the left side? 2q. Okay? So now we have that simple equation. We need to get rid of that 2 that's in front. So how do I get rid of this 2 that's in front? Do I subtract 2? No, what do? Divide, right? Since we are multiplying, we're going to have to divide, probably doing a different color, divide by 2, and divide by 2 cancels out. Q equals negative 14. So that's your answer. Q equals negative 14. Let me rewrite this question. So another way to get rid of the 2/7 all at once would be to multiply by the reciprocal of 2/7. So if you multiplied by 7/2 and multiply over here by 7/2, that would instantly get rid of the 2/7, give you the same answer, right? Because 7 over 7 cancels, 2 over 2 cancels. So you have Q equals, question is you have to multiply negative 4 times 7 over 2. So negative 4, you're going to put that over 1 times 7 over 2. You could actually multiply the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom, right? So, or you could cancel the negative 4 and the 2. It's up to you. What do you guys want to do? Multiply top with the top, bottom with the bottom, or cancel 4 divided by 2? What do you say? Cancel? Okay, so I could cancel the negative 4 with the 2, because negative 4 on top over 2 on the bottom, that's like saying negative 4 divided by 2. Now, what is negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 4 divided by 2, that cancels out. You're going to have a negative 2 left over up on top. So you really have negative 2 times 7, and that gives you the same answer, negative 14. So I don't know about you guys, but I kind of like the way we did it the first way around, right? I like getting rid of the divided by 7 and then rewriting everything, and then getting rid of the 2 times by dividing by 2. Because I think this work right here is a little more understandable than this work over here. This work over here, it gets kind of ugly, right, when you multiply by the reciprocal. But it's totally up to you, whatever you feel better with. So why did I choose to do extra video on this worksheet? I don't know, because maybe those types of questions are coming out on Friday's quiz. So this is today's homework assignment right here. We're going to be doing, it says on the homework board, so we are doing 1 through 21 all. Okay, so that's your homework assignment. We're going to start it right now together. I've selected a couple to go over. It's really easy, straightforward. Let's take a look at them. So number 2, we have V plus 12 equals negative 5. What do I do, guys? I want, the V is clearly on the left side. I want it by itself on the left side. What do I do? Subtract 12, that's right. So let's go minus 12. Well, that's an ugly 12. There you go. Minus 12 over here, because what you do to one side, you do to the other. Let's rewrite it. You see this V that's left over? I'm just going to bring it down. You don't have to circle and do what I'm doing. This equal sign, you're also going to bring it down. You don't have to circle and draw arrows. I'm just doing that to emphasize what I'm doing here. And negative 5 minus 12. You owe $5. You owe $12. How much do you owe? You owe 17. Negative 17 is your answer. That's it. And of course, the answers are on the back of the worksheet. You could double check your answer by doing that. Or if you want to get ready for the quiz, you could take that negative 17, plug it in, and think, if I owe $17 and I have $12, I can't completely pay them off. I'm still going to owe them 5. Oh, right there, what you just did in your head, that's double checking. So you double checked your answer, right? Or again, you could flip it over and check your answer in the back. Number 3, B is clearly on the left side. It's not by itself. There's a minus 2 right there. What do? I add 2, right? To get rid of the minus 2. What you do to one side, you must do to the other, plus 2. Now, when you hear the words in your mind, when you say plus 2, don't really think that you're adding. Whenever you're adding or subtracting, you got to think of money, right? So if we take a look at this, we have a negative 11. That means you owe somebody a lot of money. You owe them $11. Plus 2, you have $2. How are you going to end up? You can't pay them off. You're still going to owe them how much? 9. Now notice the equal sign. I'm just bringing it straight down. That's how I stay organized. The B is also going to come down. That's what's left over. There's nothing else to do. I have achieved my goal of getting B by itself on one side. That's my answer. Let's try a different one. Let's jump around here. How about number 6? So I want to get Y by itself. What do? I don't want this minus 14. What do? You add 14. Because to get rid of a minus 14, you're going to do the opposite, add 14. Now that's going to be off balance unless you do it to both sides. Add 14 over here. So again, don't let the word add in your mind, make you think that you're actually adding. You got to think of money in order to determine whether you're adding or subtracting. So think of money. You owe 2, you have 14. Could you pay them off? Yeah. How much do you have left over? 12. That's right. So this canceled. The y came down, the equal sign came down. That's a positive 12 because you have 12 left over. Let's try another. Let's jump to fractions. All right. Right there it says y divided by 9. I don't want the divided by 9. How do I get rid of the divided by 9? Multiply by 9. Multiply by 9. Okay? That'll cancel out. But of course, what I do to one side, I must do to the other. Multiply by 9 over there. So I will have y equals 8 times 9 is 72. A negative times a positive is a negative. Oh, I forgot the rules. Okay, a bad thing happens to a good person. That's bad. What else? Is there any other ones? Oh yeah, 18. 18 is another good one. You don't want the divided by 24. So you are going to multiply by 24. Probably should have used a different color. Oh well, too late. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. Notice that when I multiply fractions by numbers, I write that number up on top. You have to write the number up on top. Why? Because that's when you clearly see 24 over 24. That's when it cancels out, right? We all know that. Like if you have 3 over 3, that cancels out. If you have 7 over 7, that cancels out. So you want to have the 24 up on top and the 24 on the bottom so you can clearly see that it cancels out. So you have a q left over equals, what's 24? If 24 is up on top and 6 is on the bottom, that's like saying 24 divided by 6. So what is 24 divided by 6? So yeah, that is 4. Now notice that I wrote the 4 right next to the 24. Because I still need to, if I had a number up here, I still need to multiply that number times 4. And 1 times 4 is not going to change anything. That's just going to be the final answer, 4. So Q equals 4 is the final answer. So I hope this helps on getting you started on this worksheet. We are going to go through question 21. Would anybody like to see 19, 20, or 21 right now? Pick one. 20? Sure, why not? 20. Negative 1/8. Could we write that? Yeah, that's easy. Negative 1/8 of a number. My voice. Sorry. Of a number. We don't know the number. So what are we going to use to represent a number? X. Negative 1/8 x is, that means equals, negative 3/4. So there's our equation. What we're going to do now is solve this equation. Now, what do we have to do here? We need to get rid of this divided by 8. How do I get rid of the divided by 8? Come on, guys. How do I get rid of the divided by 8?
Multiply by negative 8.
Multiply. If you want to do the negative, go for it. You get rid of the negative all at once. Or you could just get rid of the 8 by just multiplying by 8, and then rewriting the entire equation, what's left over. So on the left side, if I did 8, that means I still have a negative. So let's actually rewrite the negative, the 1, and the x. So I really have, on the left side of the equal sign, I have negative 1 and x. Now on the right side, let's take a look at what happens on the right side. I do have 8 on top over 4 on the bottom. 8 on top over 4 on the bottom. 8 divided by 4, that cancels, that cancels. What's 8 divided by 4? 2. Okay, you guys are awake? And the 2 is left over up on top because the 8 was up on top. So what I really have is negative 3 times 2. What's negative 3 times 2? Negative 6. So on the right side, on this side over here, I really do have that negative 6. So this is my new equation, negative 1x equals negative 6. I need to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. Answer is x equals positive 6. So I hope this helps you get started on the homework. You do have to do all 1 through 21, so there's a lot more to do. This video will be uploaded to help you out to get ready for the quiz.